2nd and 6. Winston will load up and throw it down the middle of the field. There is heavy contact on Callaway. And the flags come in. Wow.
Jameis Winston last night in NFL preseason action. According to Twitter.com, anyway, it appears as if Jameis Winston will be the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. It also appears that Urban Meyer neither knows how to be an NFL coach nor loves his decision to try to be an NFL coach. A lot of really sad-looking Urban Meyer photographs from the sideline for last night. I'm Nick Andrews. This is Interesting to See, your daily sports podcast about news, narratives, takes, and gambling. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm trying a new thing. Look, it's full screen. We'll see what happens. Coming up today, we're going to talk about fantasy football, ADP. We're going to track MVP markets and Jameis Winston. We're also going to make fun of the Raiders and the Cowboys and Hard Knocks and whatnot. But we're going to start today with some utterly tragic news. I want to make sure I have things pulled up here correctly. Former Boston Bruin and other hockey player, played for a bunch of teams, including the Boston Bruins and New Jersey Devil, Jimmy Hayes, died yesterday or over the weekend. Born in 1989, that makes him 31 years old. He was pronounced dead at some point recently, and the hockey world is quite shook. People talking about it. So I'm going to teach you something about journalism that's kind of a weird secret. If there's no cause of death given, and a death is sudden, that narrows it down to one of three things, and it's typically called a tragedy or a death of despair. That means that either there was some unforeseen medical situation like an aneurysm or a heart attack that has not been confirmed via autopsy, but it was kind of unforeseeable. Thing number two could be death completed by suicide, which is the appropriate term. People do not commit suicide, they complete suicide. Or there was a substance involved. I think that from a mental health standpoint, stigmatizing those things by not clarifying them in the media is harmful, but that's, philosophical argument for later. Regardless, thoughts and prayers and best wishes to his family. All the NHL is all over Twitter, all over Reddit, all over everywhere. Everybody's remembering Jimmy Hayes. PK Subban had something really nice to say on his Twitter feed for quite a few tweets in a row. I don't remember him as a player, to be very frank with you. I'm a big hockey fan, but I really only pay attention to my favorite team, the Red Wings, when it comes to watching. But he's 31. I mean, it's been recent, and he was on the Bruins. He was on the Devils. He's been in the league for some time now, so quite the tragedy for Boston. So we got to start off by talking about that. Okay, let's move to discussions about Hard Knocks. This is according to Pro Football Talk, and they're getting their information from the Sports Business Journal. Sports Business Journal is a necessary publication to read. If you're a sports fan, though often not a fun one, it is necessary. So according to Sports Business Journal, the ratings for HBO's Hard Knocks this year are an abomination. They're averaging just under 300,000 viewers for the first two episodes. This comes out on Tuesdays, which we thought wouldn't be a problem because it's going to feature the Dallas Cowboys. It is a 13% increase over last year's Rams and Chargers numbers, but remember that Rams and Chargers were going up against baseball and playoff hockey and playoff basketball at the same time because of the pandemic. Everybody was in their bubbles, if you'll recall. That said, if you recall a couple years ago with John Gruden and Antonio Brown, it's a 59% drop from 2019 with the Raiders. And 720,000 people on average were watching the Raiders the first couple episodes. It was Antonio Brown. It was really interesting, but 290,000 viewers to me. It makes me think that Hard Knocks has kind of outlived its place. I mean, who cares? It's just a really long commercial that NFL is coming back, and now that we have all of this crap on demand and players give us much more access on their Instagram and their Twitter than the owners give us on Hard Knocks. So what's the point of having all this behind-the-scenes footage? They give us better behind-the-scenes footage for free on Twitter, so there's no reason to even care that much. The Raiders, speaking of the Raiders are going to Raiders. This is apparently a true report. I cannot believe this. We all recall in 2017 or 18 or whatever it was, 2018, Khalil Mack had not agreed to an extension with the Raiders. The Raiders traded him when John Gruden got to town. They traded him to the Bears for 2 first-round picks and some other swappy swaps or whatever. The Raiders won an award from Harvard or MIT or some Ivy League know-it-alls who said that it was a great trade. There was value. They won an analytics award. Awesome. They did not win any games because they could rush the passer, though. The Bears won a lot of games because they had a really great defense. The defense was great for other reasons than Khalil Mack, like Eddie Jackson and Kyle Fuller and Akeem Hicks, of course. But now there are reports that the Raiders asked the Bears if they'd be interested in trading Mack. You gotta be kidding me. This is a real report. Nobody's denying it. They called the Bears. They're like, hey, are you interested in moving Khalil Mack? And apparently the Bears are like, no. Oh, my God. That's just so funny. Speaking of egg on your face, let's talk about Everson Griffen, the former Vikings and former Cowboys and former Lions pass rusher. I got to make sure I pull up the correct photo here. Where'd it go? Oh, man. So he's back on the Vikings, and I want to say a couple years ago, Everson Griffen, he tweeted about Kirk Cousins, and I can't find the exact. Oh, here it is. Okay, so let's read it verbatim. Actually, I might as well pull it up for the people, for those of you on YouTube. So here we go. Let's go to this. So let's go. Bam, there it is. Okay. Oh, wait, it's too small. I'll see if I can zoom out for you guys. So here's the picture. Oh, man, so embarrassing. Oh, no, where'd it go? I hate Twitter in the morning. All right, so here's the picture. Everson Griffen tweets, I think this happened in 2021 in January, toward the end of the year, at Vikings. So he added the Vikings. Kirk Cousins is ass. Thank you. That's tweet number 1. Tweet number 2, ask Zimmer if he wanted Kirk. We know it was Mike Zimmer. We know he didn't want Kirk. We know he didn't. We all know he didn't. That's tweet number 2. He replies to himself, of course. And then tweet number 3. This is all coming within one thread. So he tweets, then he tweets, then he tweets again. Tweet number 3. He'll tell you the truth. Who wanted Kirk Cousins? Take your guess. Now Everson Griffen is back with the Vikings, and he said he's going to apologize to Kirk Cousins. Do you think he's going to apologize to Kirk Cousins? I don't think so. Do you think he should? No. What happens is these guys get mad because they have to play for the Cowboys or the Lions instead of playing for the Vikings, who are a much better team, and they get fussy about it. And he gets mad at Kirk Cousins because Kirk Cousins kind of took his money. He didn't actually take his money, but the team decided to pay Kirk Cousins instead of paying him. And that's why he had to leave, is because instead of giving him some more money, they gave Kirk Cousins some more money. And that's sort of where the frustration comes from. And I got to be honest, I don't blame him. I do not blame him. Let's talk a little college football. The Big Ten announced that any football team that will not play a conference game due to COVID-19, if there's a COVID-19 outbreak vis-a-vis Wisconsin in 2020, that team will forfeit. This will encourage coaches and players to get vaccinated. Many states have vaccine mandates for state employees. That includes coaches. Most famously in Washington State University, their coach was spewing what I would call bullshit on the internet about the vaccine, and now the state's like, hey, you're an employee, get vaccinated, you'll be fired unceremoniously, and we will not be paying you any more of your salary, even though you have a contract. And then he, get this, got vaccinated. Coaches love coaching football more even than they love hearing themselves talk. So I imagine that for state employees, this will not be a problem. However, losing games for big schools will be a problem. So if there are private schools like Notre Dame, like Northwestern, like Duke, and any other sport, the state of North Carolina, the state of Indiana cannot force those guys to get vaccinated. The coaching staff, they can't force them. But losing games because you have a COVID outbreak would be a problem. So I imagine the vaccination rates on these teams, they're going to go up. Okay, let's move to some fantasy and some gambling. I had a great weekend in terms of gambling. I was in New Jersey, so I was able to gamble a little bit. I want to look at the tracking of the MVP race right now in terms of odds. So last night, Jameis Winston blew up. He obliterated the Jags, and as a result of that, we think like, wait, maybe his odds for MVP will go up and down. He's going to have the best offensive line in pro football. His receivers are okay, I guess probably B- to B+ on their best day. He's got Alvin Kamara, who's probably the best overall running back in professional football, right up there. And he's got Sean Payton, who's a genius. So you think his MVP odds will move? I don't think so. I don't think they have moved. I know that Pick Six podcast host Will Brinson was like, it's worth taking a flyer on. Personally, I'm not doing that. Jameis Winston is a confirmed sexual predator, and I know that the people, this is not like something that happens. You can't win MVP the way you win the Super Bowl. You are voted on. The people that vote are not going to forget that he's a sexual predator and that he stole crab legs and all the other crap. He groped an Uber driver. He said that he did. He did. Everybody agreed that he did. He lost the lawsuit. He was suspended. He's a sexual predator, along with a bunch of other really crazy, gut-wrenching accusations about him in college. So I don't care what the odds are. I don't care if Sean Payton's his coach. I'm staying away. They're not going to vote for him. There's no chance. So be wary of that. Other MVP odds, people are going up and down. Carson Wentz goes down to 10,000 when he's hurt. It goes back to 5,000 when he's healthy. That seems like just trash odds to me. The Matthew Stafford odds have gone down. He was plus 1,600, then plus 1,800. Now he's plus 1,900, which is bananas to me because his running backs keep getting hurt. He's going to have to throw the ball. Lamar Jackson also in that neighborhood, plus 1,600. Kyler Murray in that neighborhood as well. Odds-on favorites, Mahomes and Rodgers. Mahomes is plus 450, so Vegas seems to think that it's just he's going to run away with it. I don't think he will, but just because Vegas loves shiny new stuff. ADP for fantasy football in the top 10, only one non-running back. That is, of course, Devontae Adams because Aaron Rodgers chucks the ball all over the place. Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams are supposed to have huge years. I love the idea of stacking Rams. I've been high on Cooper Kupp because of Matthew Stafford. I've been watching Matthew Stafford my whole life, and he doesn't care about a running game. What Matthew Stafford needs is possessions. Because occasionally he's good for a 3-and-out or a stupid interception, but it doesn't matter if you get him more possessions. When you play with the Lions, it didn't matter if he had a running game. It mattered if he had a defense because he needed the ball back. Well, the Rams have the two best defensive players in professional football right now, in my opinion. So I love Matthew Stafford. I love Cooper Kupp. Van Jefferson, I think, is going to have a big year. Their weapons, I think, are really interesting. And you don't see them highly. I think I'm scrolling. I'm looking for the first Los Angeles Ram. It's Robert Woods. So ADP means average draft position, for those of you that don't know, and it's where the internet is taking various people in fantasy football. So Robert Woods is going 49, which to me is incredibly low. Incredibly low. The first quarterback off the board in almost every league has been Pat Mahomes. The second quarterback off the board in almost every league has been Josh Allen. The third quarterback in almost every league has been Kyler Murray. However, all of the fantasy nerds, here's a little piece of advice for you. All the fantasy nerds think that Kyler Murray is by far the best option at quarterback because running matters. Running is points. Every time you get 6 yards, you get a certain amount of points. Every time you get a first down, you get a certain amount of points depending on the way that your league is scored. So Kyler Murray is, if your league is drafting Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen first, it's a good opportunity for you to think about Kyler Murray. So my advice is to pay attention to where Kyler Murray goes. A lot of people are taking him in the third round, it appears. But if he's the second or third, if other people are taking quarterbacks and they take Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray's sitting there, really, really think about it. Other than that, my other thing that I'm high on is stacking Rams receivers. Cooper Kupp to me is going to win leagues this year. That's just my take. I have no idea. I'm incredibly high on him. I've been watching Matthew Stafford throw the ball to Golden Tate and Danny Amendola. He throws to them 5 to 7 times a game. They get between 60 and 100 yards all the time. And I think Cooper Kupp's probably going to lead the NFL in touchdowns with like 20. That's just how Stafford operates. He likes those guys to get open on third down with a little itty-bitty yak here and there to keep the chains moving. He relies on them. It's basically his running game. He loves that kind of stuff. All right, that's going to do it for this. Geez, it's already Tuesday edition of Interesting to See, like, rate, review, subscribe, etc. I'm on YouTube. Look at my pretty face. I stream Madden. If you want to watch the Detroit Lions win the Super Bowl, you'll have to do it on Madden. Twitch.tv/TribNick. You can also follow me on Twitter if you look at the screen at TribNick, and Instagram. I make a bunch of TikToks. I make the internet mad on TikTok all the time with my crazy football takes. I don't know, get people riled up. All right, I'll be back and better than ever tomorrow morning.